I've heard of tornadoes in LA before, but it's like, hold on a sec, I gotta look this one up.
This was a real tornado strike that you would see somewhere in Tornado Alley in the Central and Southern Plains.
When I looked at this and I started to see the pictures of the damage and stuff, this was a legitimate tornado in Los Angeles.
It was a day of massive cleanup in South Central Los Angeles as the area along Broadway tried to get back to normal.
Well, the thing I remember the most about the 1983 tornado in Los Angeles was what an anomaly it was. Well, when we saw the damage for this, it's not like in 1983 we had the constant video feeds back to the station, but when the story aired, we thought, wow, this is an historic event in Southern California because, again, especially with our mild weather, are not built to withstand 180-mile-an-hour circular winds.
So it's actually funny, it's not as rare as you might think. A tornado of this kind of strength is rare. But LA County, since about 1950, I think we've had about 4 or 5 of these of that kind of strength. But I think this is probably very unique in where it was placed.
We know what to do for an earthquake or the Santa Ana winds, but we don't know how to build our homes to withstand tornadoes. We don't know what to do if the tornado alarm goes off. This totally caught us by surprise.
The people who were here when the tornado struck say they've never seen anything like it.
I'll be 83 years old. My next birthday. I've never been in nothing like that.
My boy flew in the air.
Flew in the air because of the tornado?
Yeah, it pulled him, and he hit the bus, and he got hurt.
It sucked him out of the room?
Yeah.
So for this tornado itself, what we kind of needed was, so you need rotation in the atmosphere, and you need some sort of storm to be able to lift some of that rotation. So in our case, we ended up with surface winds that were kind of up out of the south, but above it, up in the upper atmosphere, we had winds pretty much coming out of the west. And so that creates this natural rotation through the atmosphere, and that's kind of what the storms were tapping into that day. And I believe, if I remember correctly, it was only about 1/3 of a mile wide, so relatively small, but that's kind of what we would expect for a small tornado of this kind of damage. But regardless, they said about 113-mile-an-hour winds, which was at the time an F2 tornado. The most important thing, they didn't think tornadoes were possible in LA around that time.
My first day on the air was Christmas Eve 1982, and in the 35 years I've been here, I've never seen tornado activity like that. And there was a lot of amazing damage up and down that one thoroughfare. The one difference between observing an event like that now and observing it back then was we didn't have social media. There wasn't the instantaneous news feed where you saw it happen and you may have seen it coming in your neighborhood. This was all edited and packaged, and then we watched it on the 5 and 6 o'clock news and maybe the 11 o'clock news. And so it was, we're looking at it in hindsight. It would be really interesting to see how people reacted to that now in the incredible video we would have gotten.
It was unique because it went through LA. That's pretty much the unique thing for this. The National Weather Service itself said that it was kind of weird to them because it seemed detached from where some of the deepest clouds were.
And it really took us by surprise. And I think even at the time we knew that this was going to be a fairly historic event because no one that I had worked with had ever seen one of these before in an area like that to the extent that it wreaked havoc.